Coyote vs Acme, new details. The day the Earth blew up, delayed. Winnie the Pooh's awful AI overhaul. More Dr. Seuss on the big screen. All this and more in this week's Cartoon News Roundup. We officially have more Winnie the Pooh media coming our way, with the brand new series, The 100 Acre Wood Winnie the Pooh, set to debut later in 2025. There's a huge catch here though. This new series doesn't come to us from Disney, but the largely independent Cartoon Studios, with a K, which is owned a mere 7% by Sony Pictures. With the character having entered public domain a few years back, naturally, the stories of A.A. Milne are now fair game, and this new kid series marks the second high-ish profile attempt to exploit the character's sins. Of course, the first being the Blood and Honey horror parody franchise. If you're looking for an indication of what this new show might be like, while Cartoon Studios have produced a few of their own relatively unnotable series, such as Stan Lee's Superhero Kindergarten and Shaq's Garage, they provided animation for various other studios, including work on CoComelon. That probably says it all, but I won't jump to any conclusions here. At a Sundance Film Festival event, Cartoon Studios debuted the brand new trailer for the series, giving us an idea of what to expect from it and its new adaptations of the characters and stories. The designs don't look too un-Disney, who of course still retain the copyright on their own version of Pooh and Friends. I think this is probably going to fool a lot of unsuspecting general audience out there, which is likely the idea. This isn't really much different than any of those direct-to-video animated Disney rip-off movies that came out in the 1980s and the 1990s. The characters here do look just different enough to likely avoid any copyright issues, though I'm sure the Disney lawyers are looking into it thoroughly. The animation here looks pretty decent for the most part. It's bright and vibrant, but it does have that CoComelon-y, plasticky style, and looks to be in that same hyper-energetic, over-stimulatory mold. I mean, not the best first impression, but let's give this thing a chance. In a press release put out through Animation Magazine, Cartoon Studios CEO Andy Hayward noted, "Winnie the Pooh is more than just a character. He's a beloved symbol of kindness, imagination, and the enduring value of friendship. It allows us to tell timeless, heartfelt stories and, at the same time, connect children to the simple joys of nature and animals. We're creating something truly special by embracing A.A. Milne's original vision while reimagining it for today's audience. The potential for Winnie the Pooh as a brand is monumental, and we're confident this series will capture the hearts of viewers around the world as we develop a global line of products based on this look and interpretation of A.A. Milne." Yeah, that all sounds pretty good so far. Cartoon Studios further revealed that the series will consist of over 200 6-minute shorts, as well as a package of 5 holiday specials, which is a really good effort. Animation Magazine continues to note, "This new adaptation of A.A. Milne's classic books brings the magic of the 100 Acre Wood to life through a distinctive yarn-based animation style, blending AI and hand-drawn characters and backgrounds." Wait a second, surely I didn't read that correctly. Director Michael Maliani further added, "To our knowledge, this will be the first time using characters and methods developed with AI. We literally would not have been able to do this project even a year ago before the advent of today's AI and the tools that now can make this kind of look available. Oh boy, this can't be good." Alright, so I remember them announcing this about 6 or 7 months ago and then totally forgot about it. But man, this is just something else. Cartoon Studios continues to go on about how this wouldn't be possible without AI, but this has got to be one of the most generic looking cartoons possible. I don't see anything here that makes this look any better than anything that's currently on the market right now. I don't see how this is groundbreaking in the slightest. Even the current play date with Winnie the Pooh, which has been much derided by die-hard Pooh fans, looks a million times better than this. It almost looks like the Citizen Kane of Pooh media compared to this. I don't know if there's much else to say about this. Sadly, I think this is only the beginning. We're going to be seeing a whole lot more stuff like this going forward, and I dread to see where this is headed. And look, I'm going to close out this video because I don't want to give this thing more attention than it really needs. While we all furiously await Warner Brothers' upcoming animated Cat in the Hat adaptation starring Bill Hader, the studio has now set another Dr. Seuss story as a high-priority project, Oh the Places You'll Go. The book follows an unnamed protagonist, meant to represent the reader, as they travel through a series of wacky worlds and surrealist landscapes. As they explore, the narrator brightly tells him of all the places he will go in his life. It's a bright and optimistic book, and somewhat poignant, given that it was Seuss's final text, published in 1990, the year before his death. The book is notably one of the only Seuss books written in second person, utilising the future tense. Variety describes the movie as a globe-trotting animated musical following a young adventurer as they journey through the joys and heartaches and the peaks and valleys of life. High on the success of Wicked, which has just been nominated for 10 Academy Awards, Warner Brothers has put the pedal to the metal on director John M. Chu's film adaptation of Places, which he's been attached to for at least 4 years. Chu, who also directed In the Heights and Crazy Rich Asians, will co-direct the film, alongside animation veteran Jill Coulton, who was behind 2019's Abominable and 2006's Open Season. Other talent on board include producers J.J. Abrams and Greg Taylor, who'll produce alongside Dr. Seuss Enterprises, EGOT-winning songwriters Benj Pasek and Justin Paul, who previously wrote music for La La Land, The Greatest Showman, and Lyle Lyle Crocodile, and screenwriter Rob Lieber, best known for his work on Peter Rabbit, Goosebumps 2, and Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. No cast are publicly attached to the project just yet. While I'm sure we're all looking forward to this one, I certainly am, it was a favourite book as a kid, don't get too excited just yet. The movie won't hit theatres until March 17, 2028, 2 years after the Cat in the Hat film, which is set for March 6, 2026. If these two go well, this could potentially open up whole new possibilities for an exciting Dr. Seuss cinematic universe, or at least open up possibilities for some really decent adaptations of the Seuss works. Dogman, the latest feature from DreamWorks Animation, opened over the weekend to a surprising reception. The film, the latest installment in the studio's Captain Underpants franchise, based on the books by Dave Pilkey, took in $36 million at US cinemas. This gives Dogman the second biggest opening for a January animated feature of all time, after only DreamWorks' Kung Fu Panda 3 a near decade ago in 2016. Placing at number 1 on the domestic box office, it's also DreamWorks' third consecutive number 1, following 2024's The Wild Robot and Kung Fu Panda 4. Dogman fared less well internationally, taking in only $4.2 million across 29 markets, though with a collective global total of $40.6 million, this already puts the film in a great position to make a good profit, having been produced on a $40 million budget. Notably, the film is yet to open in the UK, parts of Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and Asia, with the rollout continuing through mid-April. Regardless, the film is doing incredibly well, with both audiences and critics raking in a 76% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes Tomato Meter and an 87% audience score on their Popcorn Meter. The film has also raked in an A Cinema score, a great score for any movie, but a particularly great achievement for an animated feature. Jim Orr, Universal's domestic distribution chief, tells Deadline, "Dogman is an incredibly charming film from our partners at DreamWorks Animation, who excel at storytelling for all ages. The box office this weekend and the reaction that audiences of all ages are having to Dogman point to a very long, successful run this spring." Variety points to great buzz and pent-up demand for family offerings as the defining factor in the film's surprise success, and predicts a long tail in theatres. In 2025, DreamWorks is set for its largest ever release slate, with the live-action How to Train Your Dragon, The Bad Guys 2, and the Gabby's Dollhouse movie, all set to open alongside Dogman. 2026 will see the studio release the long-awaited Shrek 5. after the first 3 seasons were dumped from the Max streaming service during the
Warner Animation Decimation.
Craig of the Creek has returned in its entirety to digital services. No, Max aren't slowly restoring all their dumped Cartoon Network titles, but Warner Brothers has made the entire 169 episode series available for download on digital services for the first time ever. It will of course come at a cost, with services like Prime Video offering the series for purchase by the episode or by the season. Individual episodes come in around $3 each, while seasons will cost a more reasonable 20-ish bucks. I can totally see Warner's making a whole bunch of their animated series available this way. I've always said that consumers are not entitled to get everything for free available at their fingertips in perpetuity because they pay a couple of bucks a month for a streaming service, but in this digital age, there's become an expected norm, and it's something that the streaming services have actually made audiences expect. And I will always support an open marketplace with multiple options. So in 2025, it does seem a little odd that the studio is now making it so the only way to watch the entire series is to buy it all piece by piece digitally at the price of a DVD. I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, but it's almost like the studio knows they can wring more money out of fans by restricting access this way. That's a rabbit hole I don't really want to go down right now. Unfortunately, for those like me who prefer to make their purchases physically, this is currently the only way to own the entire series, legally at least, as of right now, it has never been released in full on DVD. But at least fans of the show now have a legal and good quality way to watch their favourite show in its entirety again. It's been over a year since Warner Brothers unceremoniously dumped Coyote vs. Acme, the highly anticipated Looney Tunes animated live-action hybrid feature, during the
Warner Animation Decimation.
But new details on the project are trickling out once again. Deadline revealed in 2023, the movie follows Wile E. Coyote, who after Acme products fail him one too many times in his dogged pursuit of the Roadrunner, decides to hire a billboard lawyer to sue the Acme Corporation. The case pits Wile E. and his lawyer, set to be portrayed by Will Forte, against the latter's intimidating former boss, played by John Cena, but a growing friendship between man and cartoon stokes their determination to win. Now 2 stars of the film, Will Forte and Lana Condor, who both have completely unrelated projects coming out right now, are fielding questions in the press about the movie. Condor spoke to Screen Rant, confirming reports that Warner Brothers held a funeral screening for the movie soon after its cancellation.
I have zero update. That's probably definitely the most devastating thing in my career thus far. Yeah, I loved that movie so much. I had the honor of working with incredible artists for it, and we built the most amazing worlds, and we got to work with like phenomenal puppeteers and CGI and just all these things, and it was so nostalgic, and I loved the story through and through, and we had a blast making it, and I am genuinely heartbroken that there's a world that no one will ever see it. For tax purposes, I think that's so sad. And I when I got the news, they invited me to a funeral screening, which is like the saddest thing ever.
When pressed, Condor continued to dish out some more details on the film.
The film was predominantly myself, Will Forte, and Will Forte and John Cena. We were kind of like the only humans, like everything else was all green screen and everything. So I didn't really know what it was gonna look like. So when I went to the funeral screening, I thought to myself, like, maybe the movie isn't good, and maybe I was wrong. Watched the film, and I personally think it was my best work I've ever done, and I think it was funny and kind and put a real positive message, and that was really truly devastating for me, and for everyone involved.
Speaking to MovieWeb, Forte also gave his own 2 cents on the matter, saying, "My thoughts were that it's bullshit. It is such a delightful movie. It deserves so much better than what it got. I don't know, I can't tell you possibly why the decision was made to not release it, but it makes my blood boil." Warner's blamed the cancellation of the film, which was set to open theatrically, on a change of management at the Warner Animation Group, while industry insiders claim it was certainly part of David Zaslav's crusade to write off a bunch of projects on tax to make a little bit of money back for the A-League studio, allegedly taking a $30 million cut for the film. Rumours swirled that Warner Brothers cancelled the movie due to its poor quality, but all reports from the funeral screening were hugely positive. Warner Brothers, however, allegedly shopped the film around to various streamers and distributors, supposedly knocking back all offers. As of April 2024, Warner Brothers claimed the film was still up for acquisition, but nothing official has been revealed since. Forte further said, "And thank you for asking me about it, because I like talking about the movie, because I don't want people to forget what they did to us. That being said, I appreciate them letting us make it, but don't let us make the thing that we fall in love with and then not show it. I mean, I would understand if the thing sucked, but it's really good." Whether we officially get to see Coyote vs. Acme seems very unlikely under the current management. The studio faces a situation where releasing the movie would literally be illegal unless they gave the alleged $30 million back to the IRS. Whether the studio, under future management, decides to make the call to release it or not is obviously currently up in the air. But as I've been saying, I wouldn't be surprised if someone, somewhere attached to the project, had it on a hard drive somewhere, ready to drop on us like an Acme anvil. On that note, Forte told MovieWeb, "I mean, you never know what happens in life. Maybe sometime, somehow, we get to see it at some point. I hope people do, because I was really proud of it. And Lana is right, she's fantastic in it. It is a delightful film." It hasn't been completely smooth sailing for the Looney Tunes over the last few years, and just as they're finding a sliver of luck, the Acme anvil has dropped on them again. The Tunes' first ever, completely original, fully animated feature film, The Day the Earth Blew Up, somehow managed to escape the
Warner Animation decimation.
The movie, on the eve of its release however, has seemingly been pushed back by a few weeks. Originally set for a February 28, 2025 release date, movie chain AMC is now displaying a March 14, 2025 release date. Interestingly, a few days ago, social media user It's Spoonks put out a post claiming, "Friend of mine saw Dogman and got a new trailer for The Day the Earth Blew Up. It was similar to the first trailer with some gags and quotes from reviews. Most notable thing about it was that it's coming out in March now?" The user also posted an image from the trailer displaying the new date. There's been no explanation from Ketchup Entertainment, the film's North American distributor, on why the film is being delayed, but one can imagine it's potentially to avoid being buried at the box office by the upcoming Marvel behemoth, Captain America Brave New World, which opens on February 14th. It's also possible that Disney has even gobbled up more multiplex screens for the next MCU installment, giving the much smaller Looney Tunes film no option than to move out, a move that Disney have been known to make in the past. A perhaps more simple explanation is that the Feb 28 release date was set as part of the film's Academy Awards campaign. With the movie receiving no nominations, Ketchup are now potentially pushing for the relatively open spring break window. Whatever the case, don't stress too much. The movie, which has already seen a limited run in the US and has screened across Europe, is still coming and hasn't been cancelled. You'll just have to wait a few extra weeks. This move could even potentially give the movie a greater chance at box office success and get more people into the theatre. And we all know how much we need this to succeed. The movie is also set to open in Australia on March 27th, with the premiere set for February 8th on the Gold Coast. Thanks for joining me for another Cartoon News Roundup. What stories were you most excited to hear this week, and what are you hoping to hear in the upcoming news? As always, join the conversation down below.